Multiplying and dividing fractions. Perform the multiplication. Express the answer as a positive or negative quotient of two integers in reduced form. 2/5 times 1/2. In order to multiply fractions, all we do is multiply the numerators together and then multiply the denominators together. So here I have 2/5 times 1/2. That becomes 2 times 1 over 5 times 2. When we perform that multiplication, I get 2/10. Now I want to write this answer in reduced form. So I need to find a number that 2 and 10 are both divisible by. 2 and 10 are both divisible by 2. So that means I can divide the top and bottom by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 10 divided by 2 is 5. So my final answer is 1/5. Perform the following operation. Express your answer as a positive or negative quotient of two integers in reduced form. Here I have 5/12 divided by 4/3. In order to divide fractions, you keep the first fraction as is, so that's 5/12. Then you change the division sign to a multiplication sign, and you flip the second fraction. So instead of 4/3, I'm going to flip it and write 3/4. Now we just perform the multiplication. So I'll multiply the top numbers together, which is 5 times 3, and then I'll multiply the bottom numbers together, which is 12 times 4. And 5 times 3 is 15, and 12 times 4 is 48. Now I want to reduce the fraction, so I want to find a number that both 15 and 48 are divisible by. 15 and 48 are both divisible by 3, so I can divide the top and bottom by 3. 15 divided by 3 is 5, and 48 divided by 3 is 16. So my reduced answer is 5/16. Perform the following operations. Express your answer as a positive or negative quotient of two integers in reduced form. Here we have 47/42 divided by 1/14 minus 7/94. In order to perform this calculation, I first need to do the operation within the parentheses. So I have to subtract 1/14 minus 7/94 first. In order to subtract these two fractions, I'm going to use the definition that A over B minus C over D equals A times D minus B times C over B times D. So here I have 1/14 minus 7/94. And this becomes 1 times 94 minus 14 times 7 all over 14 times 94. 1 times 94 is 94, and then 14 times 7 is 98. When I multiply the denominators together, I get 14 times 94, which is 1,316. Now I'll subtract the numerators. 94 minus 98 is -4, and I get -4 over 1,316. Now I want to reduce this fraction. Both the numerator and denominator are divisible by 4. And when I divide the top by 4, I get -1. And when I divide the bottom by 4, I get 329. So when I subtract 1/14 minus 7/94, I get -1 over 329. Now that I've subtracted those two fractions, I can divide. Now my problem is 47 over 42 divided by negative 1 over 329. In order to divide fractions, I keep the first fraction, I change the division sign to a multiplication sign, and then I flip the second fraction. I can go ahead and multiply the numerators together and then multiply the denominators together and then reduce the fraction. But to save me some work, I'm going to reduce the fraction right now. So, in order to do that, you want to look at your top numbers, so the 47 and the 329, and then you'll look at the bottom numbers, which is the 42 and the negative 1. So I know that 42 can be rewritten as 6 times 7. And if you go on your calculator and divide 329 by 7, you'll see that 329 is the same as 7 times 47. So now if we look, we can see that I have a 7 on the bottom and a 7 on the top that I can cancel out. So now my problem becomes 47 times 47 over 6 times negative 1. And then if I go ahead and multiply 47 times 47, I get 2,209. And then on the bottom, 6 times negative 1 is a negative 6. So my final reduced answer is 2,209 divided by negative 6.